You're watching the Times Record News Football Show.
Welcome back to the Snap. Now we're going to look at the Times Record News small school team, and you had a lot of these teams playing deep in the playoffs. Yeah. I did not have very many teams playing deep in the playoffs.
No, you didn't.
But I still had some tough choices I thought I had to make there.
You had a tough time just picking an MVP, really.
Well, it's one of those things. A long time ago, our Windthorst and Holidays were going 4 or 5 rounds deep, and I'd have to. I think the playoffs play into it a lot. And this year's MVP, they didn't want to play it. He didn't win a playoff game, but he just played so well throughout the year. Riley Watson, the Henrietta quarterback. Huge games, must-win games for them. Even in the loss to Eastland, he might have had a couple turnovers. He rushed for like 150 against a really good Eastland defense. Had a good game passing. I just felt like he was the district's offensive MVP, and that was a really tough district.
Yeah.
So I really felt like he was just the best candidate. He plays defense. So even at the small schools, not all this time do the quarterbacks play defense. And he's a junior. He's going to come back next year. I'm anxious to see how much better he gets next year. I thought he'd take a leap this year, and I think he's going to take another leap next year. And I felt pretty good about the offensive player of the year, Chandler King of Windthorst. He didn't play defense, but he led our area in passing for most of the year. I think Landry Turner or Graham caught him at the very end, but they went to the spread offense, and he had some good receivers next to him, but he did a good job utilizing that. I haven't seen too many people throw the 15-yard out at that 2A level than he did. So.
And it was only second year in that offense, so it was something that he had to acclimate to. And I mean, he is the catalyst of that offense, being implemented in that system.
And they nearly won a district title.
That's
they went 2 rounds in the playoffs, lost to Canadian, which won state last week. So I felt like Windthorst was one of our best small school teams. The defensive MVP, I think there are a few good players, but at the end of the day, Logan Carter and he could have maybe been MVP too. He was just against City View, which I think was our most prolific small school offense. He just shut them down. He had 3 sacks that game. He finished with about 9 or 10 on the year. Henrietta, to me, had the best defense in our area small school level. I don't think really there's any argument there.
When you saw what they did against Cisco and limit Cisco the way they did, and they played well against Eastland
even against Eastland, 2 of those touchdowns they gave up were defensive touchdowns, were Eastland's defensive touchdowns. So they rarely gave up more than 20 points a game. I just felt like, and he was their best player. I mean, they had some other good players.
He's a good offensive lineman. I mean, would have been on your offensive line.
I mean, he's a great 2-way player, and he's going to be a good one to watch next year. So it's interesting. 2 of the guys are going to be back next year for Henrietta. Henrietta's got a big year next year. Thanks for tuning in to the Times Record News. The small school Red River team came out in the Christmas Day paper.